other stocks gaining in trade as well.
Thanks, Mangalam, for that. Moving on to Nestle, it's down another 6% today. Remember, prior to the news about MSG and lead being in Maggi, that stock was trading at levels of 7,050, almost went to levels of 7,099 as well. So from those levels, Nestle has now cracked close to about 1,400 rupees per share. That's about a 20% decline. Agam is here with a roundup of what the Lal Street is saying about the stock now.
Right, so after the withdrawal or the recall of Maggi noodles, we are looking at more brokerages coming in and cutting price targets. This time, these price target cuts a lot deeper. In fact, we're talking about levels sub 5,000 when it comes to the market price of this particular stock. Let's begin with Goldman Sachs on Nestle, perhaps the deepest cut that we've seen on the Lal Street so far, where it maintains a sell in the price target cut to around 4,664, and this is on the back of a potential for sustained underperformance, and also that incremental marketing spends could bear down on margins going forward. We also have a call from JP Morgan on Nestle, and while they haven't changed their view or their target price, they maintain a neutral with the price target of 7,000. They also suggest that the current problems will last longer than just a handful of quarters. And finally, we have one more, CLSA on Nestle, where once again they maintain their sell with the price target cut to around 4,900. And they are of the opinion that the product withdrawal will cause more weakness, and they're also revising, or rather cutting their CY15 to CY EPS estimates by around 20 to 25%. So on the whole, more brokerages coming in and giving us a bearish view on Nestle.
All right, thanks very much for that, Aga. Meanwhile, Opto Circuits gains. Their group company, Cardiac Sciences, won a $23 million from Zoll in the case over one of their technologies. Ekta, what exactly is the news there, and what does it mean?
Well, it is a wearable technology. They basically produce heart products. So this would be in terms of a wearable technology that Opto Circuits had, and the court awarded $23 million in terms of lost royalties with regards to this. The case was to protect the intellectual property that Opto Circuits had. To give you a background in terms of the case, in 2002, Lifecore, which is the company that they won the case against initially, began marketing LifeVest product, which was infringing on a number of cardiac science patents that they had. In order to avoid infringement, Lifecore and Cardiac Science entered into a cross-licensing agreement. So everything was positive for them in that case. But Zoll Medical acquired Lifecore in 2006 and stopped paying royalties associated with the cross-licensing agreement, and that's when this court case emerged. So overall, they won $23 million, but it is a one-time payment, and the management confirmed this with us. There are no more royalties which are expected from Zoll, but the company will launch a competing product. And remember that overall Zoll was also sold over to Asahi for $2 billion. So the management plans to use the money for debt repayment and new product launches. And interestingly, you see a good improvement in their numbers in the last quarter as well. Margins came in at over 20%. So I think it is definitely positive for Opto, even in the fundamental perspective, that maybe they can improve their bottom line because of reduced interest costs.
Okay, overall, they'll get in about 130 to 140 odd crore from this royalty. But moving on to Bombay Dyeing, that's gained in trade on news that the company is now seeking shareholder nod to offload their processing unit in Pune. Mangalam joins in with details. What's the size of this processing unit?
The size of the processing unit is, it's a captive processing unit, so obviously contributes most to their company. But if you look, it's a slump sale that they're doing to Oasis Procon for about 230 crores. They will sell select assets, all of assets and select liabilities as well. Now, this is because they see a lot of competition from Taiwan, Chinese imports, Bangladeshi imports, and also the unorganized sector. Size per se, there is not substantial, but it is also a lot of sentimental this thing for it's a sentiment value for the company, because this is one of their first processing units. The company will continue to own their brands, the retail business, Home and You, and their retail shops as well. Now, the company is shifting focus to monetize its real estate, and this is a trend that we've seen in a lot of textile companies, where the land that they are on, the factories are on, are more than the inherent business, are worth more than the inherent business. Remember, Reliance also sold their stake in Vimal last year. So we can see that the company's textile business is making some loss. If you look at the fourth quarter itself, the textile revenue was down 17%, while the company posted an EBIT loss of 13 lakhs versus about about a profit of 4 crore in the same quarter in the previous year, whereas in the real estate business, while the revenue was down 45%, it was the EBIT which was up, it was at 266 crores versus 305 crores. So the margins came in higher at 73% from 46% as well. So this indicates a shift towards the real estate business, some unlocking happening out there in terms of the value of the land that these factories are on, which is why perhaps shareholders are seeing some buying interest in the stock today.
All right. Meanwhile, Reliance Power is in news as well. They've signed an MOU with Bangladesh to develop a 3,000 megawatt power plant. Here's more from the management, who we caught up with just a while ago.
This is a 3,000 megawatt power project. The capacity is going to be an LNG-based combined cycle power project in Bangladesh. The total investment will be to the tune of $3 billion, around 18,000 crores. And the timelines for the first phase, which will be 1,500 megawatts, would be about 3 years from today, so middle of 2018.
By the way, we just saw some news on Cipla, where Stemputics has received a Japan process payment for its patent for its stem cell drug. Ika, any details?
Yes, well, it is a positive development because just to, understand the news, basically Stemputics is basically a company that Cipla has stake in, and what they are doing is that they are trying to get a new they're trying to make a new drug. So when you're trying to make a new drug, it's called a new chemical entity, and this particular drug that they're trying to make is from stem cell research. That's what I understand, and they've got a process payment for the stem cell drug. Actually, I need to check if it's a process patent and what that would mean. So, for example, maybe the process of manufacturing the drug is what they've asked for in terms of a patent, but that is for the Japanese markets. However, it is a positive, and the stock is in fact recovered from the day's low because it overall indicates that Cipla is making progress, or Cipla or a company that they own partial stake in is making progress in terms of the new chemical drug development pipeline, which is an overall positive for any big pharmaceutical company, that the next step of growth would be making drugs, or would be having investment in companies that do manufacture drugs where they have an eventual patent on. So it's positive news, and the stock too has recovered from the day's low.
All right, so on that note, we want to thank our entire research team for dropping by and highlighting all the buzzing stocks this hour. Quickly, let's recap them for you. There's HUL, Bombay Dyeing, Wockhardt, Reliance Power, Sun TV, Nestle, Opto Circuits, Eros International, as well as Cipla.